Hello and welcome to a new episode with Manu from Japanese with Manu. And today we're gonna learn about Tanabata. That's one of the more famous festivals in Japan. First, let's take a look at the kanji and then I will tell you a little more about the vocabulary and the background story. So, Tanabata has two kanji. The first one is the kanji for 7 and the second one for evening. If you take a look at the kanji for 7, it does look like the 7, but just like upside down. And yeah. So the thing is, with pronunciation, if you know about kanji, then you might know that there are several ways of pronouncing a kanji. And usually if you have a word consisting out of 2 or several kanji, then you use the so-called Chinese pronunciation. But in this case, Tanabata is really like a specific way of pronouncing that. It's just like the name, and afterwards basically got connected to these kanji. Now the question is, why do we have the kanji for 7 and evening? Well, usually it's celebrated in Japan on the 7th of July, so it's the 7th evening. 7 and evening, that's why we have the kanji there. All right, so the question is now, what other words do you know with the kanji for 7 and for evening? So usually the kanji for 7 is pronounced shichi, shi and chi. And the first e, the e from shichi, is really not really like pronounced because there is the chi, and the chi is a hard syllable. Hard syllables are basically all the syllables of the K, S, T, and H row, which do not have the ten. So like ka, ki, ku, ke, ko, sa, shi, su, se, so, ta, chi, tsu, te, to, ha, hi, hu, he, ho, and pa, pi, pu, pe, po, because that's the one with the circle. All right. And so it's not shi, chi, you omit basically the e, shichi. So that's how you usually pronounce it. But that's the Chinese pronunciation. The Japanese one is nana, nana. And the thing is, you have to memorize when you use shichi and when nana. So I brought along some words for you to memorize. So the 7th month, July, which we actually have right now, is pronounced 7月. 7月, not 7月. 7月. So please remember, if you talk about July, the seventh month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7月. And the 7th day is called nanoka. So it's not nana and not shichi, it's nano and ka. So the kanji for 7 has the pronunciation shichi, nana, and nano. And the second kanji, that's the kanji for day, in this case is pronounced ka. And for the month, that's called gatsu. So every single month is basically a combination of from 1 to 12 plus gatsu. 1月、2月、3月、4月、5月、6月、7月、8月、9月、10月、11月、12月. Alright. Then I have brought along the word 7時. 7時. That's 7 o'clock. Ji means time or hour. And here it's called 7時. Again, a little difficult to pronounce. Try it. Shi and chi. Shichi. And then plus the ji afterwards. Shichiji. Yeah, it's something that you have to like make your mouth, like the muscles of your mouth, like the muscles of your mouth needs to get used to this kind of movement. It's something that you don't really pronounce in English, right? These kind of like letters. Shichiji. Shi, chi, ji. So the first like shi, chi, ji. So the ji is soft, the chi is hard. Shi, ji, shichiji. And then I brought one more word, 7 people. So the kanji for 7 and the kanji for person. So this thing is, you have 2 different ways of pronouncing. You can say nananin and shichinin. So that's something that you can decide by yourself which one you prefer more. I think I would say nananin. But there is like a movie which is called Shinin, like the 7 Samurai. So like there it's called Shinin. And then some more words for the kanji for evening. I brought along the word yugata. Yugata. So the thing is, like, in Japanese, you have several ways of saying like evening and night. And yugata is basically the time when the sun sets. Yuhi, so he doesn't mean necessarily the day, but also like the sun. So yuhi is basically the sun, the setting sun itself. And yuyake, yake comes from yakeru, to fry or like to bake or grill something. So yuyake is basically the sun going down, you know, the vanishing sun when the sky gets red. That's yuyake, the burning evening. Yuhan is dinner, so like the meal that you eat in the evening. Some people say supper. I learned dinner. Anyway, so yuhan. The han basically means cooked rice. So like raw rice is kome, but han is the Chinese pronunciation, basically. Yuhan, the dinner or supper. Yushoku is another word for that. Sounds a little more polite. Yuhan, yushoku. So the han is, yeah, you know, you might know the word gohan, you know, as I said just before, like the cooked rice. Shoku is the Chinese pronunciation of taberu, or tabemasu, to eat. And then we have yoru, by the way, we have ban. So ban is another word for evening. Ban, I would say, is basically the part of the night where it's still like not dark yet. So like it starts basically when the sun is setting until it gets completely dark. That's ban. Then we have the word yoru. Yoru is basically the dark part of the night, or the dark part of the evening until the night is over. That's yoru. And instead of yuhan or yushoku, you could also say bangohan, depending which word you prefer. You can hear all of them: yuhan, yushoku, bangohan. So with this han, as I said, like cooked rice, because the thing is, every traditional Japanese meal includes cooked rice. So basically, to know every single word for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner or supper, you just use the han with the time of the day. So asa is morning. Asa gohan is the breakfast. Hiru means noon. Hiru gohan is lunch. And ban gohan we just had, the rice or the meal for the evening. So asa gohan, hiru gohan, ban gohan are like colloquial words. You're gonna use them for friends and when you talk just normally. But if you want to sound more polite, then you use the shoku version. And so asa gohan, hiru gohan, ban gohan basically are asa, hiru, yoru, or like asa, hiru is basically the Japanese pronunciation of these words. And basically the Chinese pronunciation, or the version with the Chinese pronunciation, is usually the more polite one or the more formal one. So instead of asa gohan, you say chōshoku. So chō is the Chinese pronunciation of asa. And shoku is the Chinese pronunciation of taberu, or tabemasu, to eat. So for example, if you're in a hotel and you want to know when like the breakfast time is, then no matter if you ask asa gohan wa nanji kara desu ka or nanji mara desu ka, so from when to when is the breakfast, usually the people, like the employees of the hotel will say chōshoku instead of asa gohan, because asa gohan would not be polite enough. Yes, and the same thing for the lunch. That's chūshoku. So chū is the Chinese pronunciation of hiru, noon. And if you are not really a polite person, then you might use the next three words: asameshi, hirumeshi, banmeshi. Yeah, that's a word that I would say guys would use. So like my husband usually say meshi. Meshi wa doko da? It's like Luffy, like sitting at the table like, where's my food? I'm hungry. Meshi, meshi. Right? Yeah, so that's meshi is actually the Japanese pronunciation of the han. Yeah. So see, take a look at the kanji. Meshi and han are the same part, or look the same. All right, so that's that. And now finally to the story. After talking your ear off for 10 minutes about vocabulary, now let's talk about the story. So the story is basically about two people, or two stars, or two gods. One god is called, or one star is called Hikoboshi. Hikoboshi. So the first kanji, hiko, means the child of the sun. And Hikoboshi And the second one is the star. So hikoboshi is the person who is responsible for the for cattle. So for cows and and he has to take care that they're well fed and they're groomed and everything. And he meets orihime. So orihime is weaving. She's making clothing for the people. So she's responsible for the clothing and that there is enough clothing and everything, right? So as I said, so hikoboshi. The boshi comes from hoshi, which means star. And hoshi is the Japanese pronunciation, and sei would be the Chinese pronunciation. For example, the word wakusei, that's planet. So waku means like to go in like back and forth and, like don't really be straight about something. And then we have the word meiwaku, which is a really important word for Japanese people. Meiwaku means like a bother. So you're bothering people. Meiwaku suru. And like the most important thing for people is not to be meiwaku or not to cause meiwaku. Yeah, you don't want to bother other people with your problems. You don't want to bother people because you don't know something. So, everybody tries to not be a bother, to do everything what they can do to, be nice to people and to don't give any more burden to another person. Which can be pretty, a strain, I would say, All right, so that's that. And orihime. So ori comes from orimas or oru, to weave. And orimono is basically fabric, something that has been woven. So you have the result, orimono. Mono means thing. Like it's kimono, the thing you wear. And the machine, the loom, is called hataori. The first kanji is the ki from kikai, a machine, basically. Yeah, hataori, like the machine for weaving, loom. And so the story behind them is, they were doing their job every day and really, took care of things and really tried to be, a good god and do their deeds. But when they met, they fell in love. And that's called in Japanese, koi ni ochiru. Koi. Koi means love, and ochiru, to fall in love. Basically the same thing as in English. So the thing is with love, there are two kinds of words, koi and ai. Ai is the feeling of love that you can have for anybody, like for friends, for family. But koi is like this special feeling to fall in love feeling. So that's that. And they meet, every day and forget about their things, about their tasks they have to do. So what happens is, the cows don't have anything to eat anymore and they start to die and get sick. And orihime doesn't do her work anymore. There is no more clothing, and the people don't have any clothing more. The clothing is like, has holes, and it's, so they're causing a lot of trouble. And, that's a bad thing. So the upper gods become angry and they punish them. And the punishment is they are not allowed anymore to see each other, because when they see each other, they don't do their jobs. So the result is they're not able to meet each other anymore, except once a year at Tanabata, at Amanogawa, the Milky Way. Ama is the Japanese pronunciation of 10, heaven, and Gawa comes from Kawa, the river, the Milky Way, the heavens river. Yeah, so that's the thing. And basically, as I said, they are stars. So hikoboshi is Altair, and orihime is Vega. So yeah, and basically, there is really a story like behind that, like an astrological things. Like on this day, Altair and Vega are, in the constellation that they're really the nearest when you look at the Milky Way. So they can really cross the Milky Way. And the thing is like, so the birds come and like build a bridge so for them to meet up so they can cross the bridge over Amanogawa. And if it's raining, well, they cannot meet each other because the birds cannot build a bridge when it rains. So whenever there is Tanabata and it's raining, and it's really a sad thing because they cannot meet up for the whole year again, have to wait another year for getting their chance to meet. So that's basically the story, and the story originally came from China. And there are lots of like these kind of like festivals and seasonal things that came from China but are adjusted a little to Japan. So what people do nowadays in Japan they get like small pieces of paper and write their wishes on these papers. And these small pieces of paper are called in Japanese tanzaku. Tanzaku. So tan is the Chinese pronunciation of michikai, short. And the zaku comes from saku. And there's also like the pronunciation satsu, which is the counter word for books. If you take a look at it, it looks like there's like pieces of paper and there's like a needle through it, so like to keep it in place. So like a bound, and like it's several pieces of paper, and that's basically what a book is, right? Yeah. But anyway, tanzaku is not like a whole book, but just a small piece of paper where people write their wishes on, and then they put it on bamboo stalks. And these bamboo stalks are basically like decorated together. Some people put them in front of their house, or some people put it in a vase and they decorate the house with that. And I've been to a shopping center yesterday and the day before yesterday too, I think next to a restaurant. I don't remember exactly anymore. And like they had like these bamboo stalks and twigs and leaves, everything. And you could just write your wish there and decorate the piece of paper with the decorated. Yeah, just put it on the bamboo leaf, bamboo stalk, twig. All right. So the reason for that basically is like long time ago, paper was really like expensive. So it was like only the rich people, the aristocrats, could do that, and they basically sent the wishes to the gods, with the expensive paper. And what they did basically, they put this piece of paper into the river for the gods to reach it, So that's what happened there. And the question is also like, why do they use bamboo? Especially the bamboo leaves have like antibacterial an effect. And especially in summer, like super hot in Japan and also humid, so like things can like spoil easily. And with this antibacterial effect, or it's easier to like have food not spoiled. Yes. There is some more interesting story. Let's first go through all the vocabulary. So we have the sasa. If you take a close look here at the upper part, that's basically take, which is the bamboo. And then we have onegai, that's the wish. So what you usually to write a wish on this piece of paper is called tanzaku ni onegai o kakimasu. So tanzaku, as I said, that's a small piece of paper. The ni basically is the particle for direction. Where do you write it on? On the piece of paper. Onegai, so that's the wish. O is like the particle for the object. What do you write? A wish. And to write is kakimasu. Onto the piece of paper, a wish to write. And then the next sentence is そして短冊を笹に飾ります。そして means and then. 短冊を so を means it's the object. So 飾ります means to decorate. So what do you decorate? The 短冊, the bamboo stalks. And sasa is, tanzaku o kasarimasu, you decorate basically use the, so kasarimasu like means to put something somewhere for decoration purposes. So you put something somewhere, the decoration purpose is the tanzaku, the small pieces of paper. But where do you put them to? Again, the ni, the direction to where you put it, on the sasa, on the bamboo stalks. Yes, and yeah, that's the story I already told you, but let's just repeat it in Japanese. 昔、紙は高かったです。昔, in olden times, long time ago. 紙, paper. 高かった, it was expensive. It comes from 高い, the adjective, and the past tense is 高かった. 高い, you use the e and replace it with 買った to get the past tense. The des at the end just makes it more polite. So, a long time ago, paper was expensive. 高級品, an expensive item. 高 means high, 高い. 級 means level, so high level, exquisite, expensive. 品 item. So an expensive item. 貴族だけは買うことができました。貴族 are the aristocrats. だけ only. は particle. So only about the only about the the people who were rich, basically. 買うことができました。できました means was able to do something, comes from できます。The thing that you can do is marked with が。The thing is, the thing you can do needs to be a noun, and cow means to buy, so it's a verb. In order to make a noun out of cow, out of a verb, you need the base form, so not kaimasu, but cow, and then you add koto to normalize it, to make a noun of it. Kao koto is the buying process, basically. The buying. So I was able, or people were able to buy only, aristocrats. The blue-blooded people. And then, 短冊を川へ流していました。So, 流していました comes from 流します to let something flow, like on the water. 流して is the te form, plus, te form plus います means something is being done. Alright, so we got some more sentences, no, one more actually. 短冊を川へ流していました。That's what we're talking about, right? So they let the pieces of paper flow on the river, onto the river, is the direction. It's usually as this hiragana or katakana looks pretty similar. In the word, it's usually pronounced he, but if it's used as a particle, then it's pronounced e. Kawa e, to the river. Yes. And originally, that was basically with the old style calendar, like the moon, the lunar calendar, that's called kyureki. Kyu means like old, and reki is like history. So old history or old like recordings actually. So, old records. The current calendar system is called shinseki. Shin like atarashi, new. Not seki, reki. You may have heard the reki from rekishi, history. Like history as like a subject at school, in school. Yeah. So currently, as I said, Tanabata is celebrated the 7th of July, but actually it was in like according to the old style calendar, it was celebrated in the middle of August, because like the lunar calendar is usually like 1 month, like one lunar month, so like like the amount of time like the moon takes for going around. Anyway, so like it was celebrated in the middle of August actually, and in the middle of August in Japan we usually celebrate Obon, and Obon is and that's in the middle of July and middle of August, and that's called Hachigatsu Jujun. So Hachigatsu is August and Chichigatsu is July, as I said, and Jujun basically means in the middle. So Ju means middle, and Jun is used basically for every 10 days of a month. So Jujun is like the middle 10 days, Jojun, that this word here, the first 10 days, and Gejun are the last 10 days of a month. Yeah, so Hachigatsu Jujun, that's basically when Obon is celebrated, and the Bon basically is when the spirits and like the souls of your dead relatives come like back to Earth. And like for one evening, basically, it's said that they come back and you can celebrate with them. And there is another thing. I think I want to make another video or another episode about that. But just to know, like, it's like All Hallows Eve, a little, not really, but anyway, it's about the dead. And that's Obon, and basically, so like Tanabata was celebrated basically during the time, because as I said, like it's super hot right now in Japan, like, and also like in August even more. So for frail people, especially old people, like they died more easily. So there is the connection basically, and then during Obon, we say that ano yo and kono yo. So Anayo is the netherworld, like the world of the dead, and Konoyo, like the world of the living, the our world, are quite near. So basically, it's easier to go from one world to the other. Yeah. And as I said, the bamboo leaves have some kind of like like antibacterial effect, and in Japanese that's called sasa no ha ni wa kokin kouka ga arimasu. Yeah. So sasa, as we said, is the bamboo stalk, and ha means leaf. And usually, it's like if you have several leaves, it's called happa. And then kokin, so the ko means like to like block something off, and kin is bacteria. So kokin is like blocking off bacteria, is like antibacterial. If you have already learned a little Japanese, you might have heard the word teiko. Teiko is like to resist, the resistance. To start the force, the force is strong. Anyway, so teikosuru is like to resist against something. And here you resist, basically have resistance against the bacteria. And kouka is like effect. Kouka ga arimasu, it's effective, it has an effect on that. Yeah. And so like what we do is we write our wishes onto these pieces of paper, and I brought some wishes along for you. And if you want, you can send me your wish either as a comment or if you want as an email. But before like that, let's go through the sentences I have brought along. The first one is I want to become able to speak Japanese. So that's the direct translation. I want to be able to speak Japanese. Or yeah. So Nihongo, the Japanese language. As I said before, dekiru or dekimasu means to be able to do something, and the thing that you're able to do is marked with ga. Nihongo ga dekiru. So I'm able to Japanese. So it doesn't necessarily mean like speak or understand. It's basically the whole thing of ability. And this yo ni naritai. So yo ni is something that you want to have this process of becoming able to. So the process is this yoni. Dekiru yoni means like, so right now you're not able to do it. And the goal is to become able to do it. So not being able to do it, being able to do it. Dekiru. And this process from not being able to do it to being able to do it happens with this yoni. Dekiru yoni. And then we have naritai. Naritai comes from narimasu, to become. And the tai form is I want to. So I want to become Japanese able. You can translate as I want to become being able to speak Japanese. Right, so that's 日本語ができるようになりたい. And then next one, お金が欲しい. 欲しい means to wish for something. So, and again, we have ga here. Ga in this case marks the thing that you want. So ga hoshi always means there is something, a thing or a person, like a noun that you want. As I said, like the kiru, the yo ni naritai or the kiru yo ni usually needs a verb. Hoshi means a thing or a noun at least. お金が欲しい, I want money. I can write it down. お金が欲しい. Of course, if you want to be more polite, you add the des at the end. お金が欲しいです. Because 欲しい is actually not a verb, so like to wish for, but it's actually an adjective, like an e adjective. And as I said before, what was it? What's that? I forgot. Something where I said like, the katta. What was it? I forgot. Takakatta. Yeah, takakatta. Exactly. So it comes from takai, and the des is just here for the politeness. Takai, takakatta is an e adjective, and you just add des for politeness. So the same thing happens here with the hoshi. Hoshi is an adjective, and by adding des makes you sound more polite. お金が欲しいです. I want money. Or 新しい車が欲しいです. Instead of only 欲しい. 新しい new 車 car が欲しい. I want. 新しい車が欲しい. I want a new car. And one more. お母さんは元気になってほしい. Again, the 欲しい. However, the thing is, I want, but now, that's actually an exception. なって comes from なります to become. And the te form plus 欲しい is I want this to happen. But that's like the only way that you use 欲しい with a verb. Usually, as I said, like が欲しい, and the thing in front of が needs to be a noun. But if you have the te form, then you basically connect two verbs. Te form is basically always a verb. So なってほしい, I want to become. But it's not about myself. Te form plus 欲しい means I want something to happen. Not I want to become, but I want something to happen. I want somebody to do something. So, お母さんは元気になってほしい. So let's just take a look at the お母さんは元気になって. As I said, なって comes from なります to become. 元気, healthy, energetic. So I want what? お母さん, my mom. お母さんは元気になります. My mom becomes healthy. お母さんは元気になってほしい. I want my mom to become healthy. Maybe she's suffering some kind of illness or whatever. I want her to become healthy. お母さんは元気になってほしい. And this, again, if you want to be more polite. You can write 欲しい only in hiragana, or you can also write it with this kanji here. Yes. Okay, so that was like half an hour about all kinds of things Japanese in regards to Tanabata, the festival. And yeah, let's do some ad for me, some advertisement. Because if you don't know yet, I have so far published one book, and it's called Reading Japanese for Beginners. If you're able to read hiragana and katakana and maybe have already done super easy grammar, then this is the perfect book for you. It's really called Reading Japanese for Beginners, so it's really for absolute beginners. If you're able to write hiragana and katakana, and have learned some words, and you don't really know much about grammar yet, no problem. Everything is explained there. In the beginning, there is like an overview of all of like all the particles, like these super important small like syllables that tell you the meaning or like the part of the sentence, what it actually is. It's the object, the subject, the place, the means, or whatever. And so that's basically part of what's explained in the beginning. You learn about verbs, you learn about subject and object and all these things. And then there is a small overview about important polite words, like saying good morning and these things. And then there are two stories. Two easy stories. The first story is like the easiest story, like for like complete beginners. And the second story is basically based on the knowledge that you've gained during the first story. And basically the thing is like every single page of the story has explanations for every single sentence. So I explain the meaning, not only the meaning, but also like the grammar used in this sentence, the vocabulary there, and why it's the way it is. And then you have like a vocabulary list for every single page, so you don't have like to check, I don't know, like at the end of the book, you just have to go to the next page and check the vocabulary if there's a vocabulary you don't know yet. And of course, there is a translation, so you can also go to the translation directly. Depending on your level, I would first maybe go read through the translation to like know the meaning, then go through the vocabulary list and take notes if you want, to make your own vocabulary list, because what you write by yourself on your hand, it makes it easier for you to like stay in your brain. And then go through the text, like the one page each, and go along with the explanations. And then listen to it. There is an audio file which you can download. The link is in the book directly. And then you can listen to it. Listen and read at the same time. That's really, really important. And also try to repeat. And right now, if you buy the book, it also includes one video lesson with me. So like I record it. So when I usually use this book to teach Japanese, like I read one sentence and explain it. And I also want people to repeat. So like I read a portion of the sentence and then give you like enough time to repeat it, to train your mouth, as I said, to be able to make these sounds. That's really, really important, to repeat it with your own mouth, not just only listening, not only passive, but also doing active speaking. So before you're able to like make your own sentences by thinking and everything, first train your mouth to be able to say it. And by listening and saying it, it comes more automatically to you to make your own sentences, to come up with your own sentences, right? Yeah, and then you have also like questions for every single story. And they're like nice pictures, because I feel like if there are no pictures, you know, like especially for beginners, it's if you have a picture, it's easier for you to like understand what's going on there, and the pictures are drawn by a Japanese artist. So like this is like really like, it's not like so the person who drew these pictures really like gave all their thought and things, and so that's really for you like to immerse yourself into like being in Japan. You really feel like you're in Japan. Like the first story is about a high school student, and the second story is about a foreigner going to Japan on the first trip. Yeah, so that's that. And I would really encourage you to get this book and get going with your studying Japanese. No matter if you're a complete beginner or if you've already maybe studied for some Japanese. I recently had somebody here, who've been learning Japanese for quite some time, but that was like several years ago. So they got the book, and we went through the story, and they just used it like as a refresher of like everything they learned, and like, oh, we suddenly understand that. And it's like, you know, it's really important to like have something that is really on your level. Usually if you get like a book for children or something, then, you know, it's for Japanese people. Even though it's for kids, it's still for Japanese people and not for somebody who learns the language. So also like for kids, the language is a little different, you know, like the boo 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 and ba ba ba, if you're like a baby or something, that's maybe not like suitable for an adult to speak the way that way, right? Yeah. So that's that. You can buy it on Amazon. Just search for Reading Japanese for Beginners. The author is myself, Manuela Ituloidl, Manu Sensei. So you can find it anywhere. You can find it in the US, in the UK, in Canada, in Australia, in Europe, every like Amazon marketplace basically. And I'm currently working on the next book, which is called Japanese for Beginners. I think it takes, we are basically finished with like the book itself, but now we have to do like all the layout and things, and it takes still some more time. I hope I can finish it this year. And if you want to work together with me some more, then you can also get one-on-one lessons with me. Or if you have any other questions, I'm also doing group lessons, but I still have to set everything up. So just send me an email at manu@japanesewithmanu.com. Also, if you want this piece of paper, like this PDF file I have here, just sign up for my newsletter. And every time I publish a new episode, everybody who is signed up for my newsletter will get this PDF file automatically, so you don't have to take notes. It just can print this PDF file out and maybe take some notes additionally, because you have the Japanese words here, but I did not add the English words because according to my experience, it's just listening to something without being actively doing something is not really effective. So if you have this piece of paper, this PDF file here, and then you take notes with your hand, you are actively doing something with your body, makes your brain more active. And an active brain memorizes things more easily. So that's my suggestion for working with my episodes, or no matter if you watch the YouTube video or listen to the podcast file. Anyway, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you learned a lot. See you soon. Yours, Manu from Japanese with Manu. Mata ne, and happy Tanabata if you celebrate it. Bye bye.